I have a confession to make. I've actually already seen this clip before, but it was so good I thought that I had to make a reaction video to it because every time I see it, it just hits home so hard. So this is celebrities talking about Jesus Christ, A Catholic Reacts. Here we go. Let me go ahead and show this for you. This is Jim Carrey talking about Jesus and talking about his suffering and his experience. And I'm just going to let this play all the way through because it's worth listening to.
I had some challenges in the last couple of years myself. Ultimately, I believe that suffering leads to salvation. We have to somehow accept and not deny, but feel our suffering. And then we make one of two decisions. We either decide to go through the gate of resentment, which leads to vengeance, which leads to self-harm, which leads to harm to others, or we go through the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace. Just as Christ did on the cross, he suffered terribly, and he was broken by it. To look upon the people who were causing that suffering, or the situation that was causing that suffering, with compassion and with forgiveness. And that's what opens the gates of heaven for all of us.
Wow. Jim Carrey there hits a home run. Absolutely wonderful, beautiful. You can tell that that's coming from a very real spot in him. He's certainly experienced something in his life that's caused him a tremendous amount of suffering. But he's right that suffering has this sobering effect where whenever you encounter it, something has to change, something has to give. And he's right, I think. When you encounter suffering, you have two options. You can choose resentment. You can choose to hate your suffering. You can choose to hate those who are causing your suffering. And you can choose to become bitter. Just bitter at everyone and everything. That's one way to cope with suffering. Or you can choose to, as Jesus says, take up your cross daily and follow him. Accept the sufferings, feel the sufferings, and have faith that they're leading you somewhere that you want to go. And that's the only way to maintain peace and to avoid becoming resentful, to avoid becoming self-obsessed, to avoid egoism, narcissism. You have to look at the world, recognize its failings and its shortcomings, and then choose to see the beauty in it anyway, and choose to pursue what's good and what's beautiful, despite the shortcomings. So, really beautiful video there from Jim Carrey. Blown away at the profundity with which he seems to be understanding the human person and the gospel. There's a reason that Jesus says we have to take up our crosses daily, and that's because every day comes with its own sufferings and its own challenges. So today, let's all do our best to embrace the sufferings that are coming to us, recognize them as coming from God for our sanctification, and let's pick up our crosses and let's follow Jesus.